Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. It's month 8 for the Sparkle and Shine Puzzle Mystery Quilt from Cotton Cuts. So let's go ahead and put our clue together. Alright, let's go ahead and get started for clue number 8 of Sparkle and Shine. Remember guys, I'm doing the small clue, so if you have a small clue, you can follow along with these directions for this month's clue. And let's go ahead and open up our packet and see what we have inside. Also guys, very important, don't forget to grab your fabric guide so that way you know which fabric is what. And starting off for this clue, we have 14 of fabric A, we have 2 of fabric B, we have 6 of fabric D, and that's 6 small triangles of fabric D. We have 3 large triangles of fabric D. We have 2 squares of fabric F. Next up we have 2 squares of fabric A. And lastly, down here at the very bottom, we have 3 large rectangles of fabric A. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take these and put them on the table behind me so we can get started with step number 1. Alright, starting off with section 8A, you'll be making 2 of these sections. So we're going to make 2 of section 8A. The instructions below tell you how to make both sections at the same time. We're going to start off with step number 1, and it says to join a small triangle A and D, and we're going to press it towards D. So we're going to put these 2 together 6 times. Remember on your fabric A for Moonstone, this is a very tone-on-tone, and so really pay attention once again to make sure that you're sewing on the correct side of the fabric. So right sides together, we're going to put them on top of each other just like this, a little better than what I'm doing right now. Sew along this long side, and we're going to do that 6 times. Okay, I've sewn all 6 of those together. I'm going to go ahead and press this towards my D fabric. Again, for half square triangles, it's best to go press it up and then bring it back down and then go straight over. That really helps with warping, I have found, so that's usually the best way that I press them out. Let me turn this so that it's the correct way as the picture, so it should look like that when you're done. Alright, so there's 6 of those. Let's go ahead and move on to step 2. Alright, moving on to step number 2, it says to join step 1 to the right of a square of A, and then press to the left. And you might be looking at my pieces saying, hey Ian, it looks like you may have already started to sew and then had to rip it out and start again. Yes, my friend, you are very observant. I wasn't paying close enough attention to the picture, and so I didn't see that D should go down here in the lower left instead of in the upper right like on step number 1. So pay close attention and have your seam ripper ready to go in case you make a mistake like I do. No big deal though, just took them apart, and thankfully we're only doing 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm just going to plop it right on top, and I'm going to sew on this side so that my D fabric touches my A fabric. Alright, I have corrected my mistake. Remember, mistakes happen. It is totally fine. No big deal. That's why they have seam rippers, right? Alright, so there we go. I have corrected my mistake, and we now have our clue 2 that should look like this. So it's A, D, A, just like that. And now we're going to move on to step number 3. Alright, moving on to step number 3, we're going to be joining step 1 to the left of a square F. We're going to press it to the right, and we're going to make 2. So I'm going to go ahead and I am paying attention, and my D fabric is in this top right side of my half square triangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my F fabric on top just like this, and I'm going to sew this 2 times on this edge. Alright, I have completed step number 3. I'm pressing towards my F fabric just like that. And now we have 2 of our step number 3 completed, just like that. It looks like we're going to set this off to the side and move on to step number 4. Alright, moving on to step number 4, it says to join a small triangle of A and B. We're going to make 2 of these, and we're going to press towards our B fabric. So let's go ahead and get that done. Alright, I have completed that, so now I'm pressing my half square triangles to our B fabric, so they should just look like this. Let's move on to step number 5. For step number 5, it says to join step 1 to the right of step 4. We're going to press to the left, and we're going to make 2 of these. So I'm going to line these up just like this, and we're going to sew them on this side right here, and I'm going to make 2 of those. All right, it is now time to press our fabric towards our, we're going to press it towards the left, which has our B fabric in it. So it might be a little difficult. I know mine tries to kind of pop up wherever we have that overlap happening on the back side, but it should be okay. So there we go. We have 2 of those just like that. We'll move on to step number 6. All right, moving on to step number 6, it says to join step 3 to the top of step 5, and we're going to press it towards the top. And we're also making 2 of them, so we're just going to put them on top of each other just like that, and sew along this line right here. All right, when you are done, you of course are going to press to the top like I said, and it may be a little difficult to press your center area because there are so many layers of fabric coming together in that one spot. Although it's really helpful, don't freak out if you didn't get your pressing instructions 100% correct. Don't freak out that that's going to ruin everything. It's not. It's totally fine. I've messed up my pressing directions before when putting my blocks together, but it definitely helps to nestle them together and get you those really nice points, because these, whenever they were on top of each other, they kind of nestle into each other, and it makes it a little easier to know that you're on the right track there. So not a big deal though. It is a little difficult to get those. If you have a clapper, that might really help to put on there and get them to be sharp points. But anyways, enough of that. We'll move on to step number 7. All right, moving on to step number 7, it says to join step 2 to the top of step 6, and we're going to press towards the bottom. So the way that I kind of look at this, the picture, and know that I'm in the right direction here is we of course have our A square right here, and then we have our 2 D fabrics that kind of form an hourglass shape. So if you have it the other way around, if you do it like this, if the 2 triangles are stacked on top of each other, that is not correct. But if you have that hourglass kind of shape, that's what you're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and put this on top just like this, and we're going to sew across the top, and we'll be done with step number 7. All right, there we go. We have finished step number 7. I don't know what I was about to say there, but we have finished step number 7, and we are pressing, we're going to press it down. So I have the block flipped upside down at the moment while I'm pressing it out. I find it easier to do it that way. And it should look like this whenever you're done. So you have the A square up in the top left corner, you have your AD half square triangle in the lower right corner, and you have that hourglass shape, your F fabric, and your B fabric. So it should look something like this whenever you're done. Whenever you're finished, it should be 6.5 inches by 9.5 inches. I don't measure, so unless something's really crazy off, I don't usually worry about it too much. But we have 2 of these that are done. And remember, we're going to label these as section 8A or clue 8A, either way. I usually write clue, but that's just my personal preference. But that's going to be clue 8A. All right, moving on to section 8B, clue 8B, either way you want to say it. You'll be making 3 of this section 8B. The instructions below tell you how to make all 3 sections at the same time. I can't talk today, apparently. We're going to start off by joining a small triangle of A to the top right of a large triangle of D. We're going to press that towards our A fabric, and then we're going to join a second small triangle of A to the top left, press towards our A fabric, and we're going to make 3 of these. So this is just a flying geese pattern. We have done lots of these throughout the Cotton Cuts puzzle mystery quilts, so it shouldn't be anything you're not familiar with. But we're going to go ahead and do this 3 times, and then I'll meet you back here whenever I get all 3 put together. All right, we have finished that for step number 1. We're going to iron it out, or press it out, excuse me, over to our fabric A, just like that. Now we have 3 flying geese blocks that look like this. Let's move on to step number 2. All right, moving on to step number 2, it says to join a rectangle of A. This is the large rectangle that we had to the left of step number 1, and we're going to press towards our rectangle. So this may be a little bigger than my camera shot up here, but we're just going to put them together just like this and plop it on top just like that. So on this line, and we're going to do that 3 times. All right, there we go. I have put all 3 of those together. We're pressing towards our long rectangle of A, just like that. I can't see my directions anymore because they're under the fabric, but it says that we've made 3 of these, and they should measure 18.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and we're going to label these clues or section 8B. So we have 8B, and then we have our section 8A, which I'll grab. All right, there we go. We have our section 8A, clue 8A, and our section 8B, or clue 8B. And we've made 2 of 8A, 3 of 8B. And there we go. We are done with this one. Make sure to stick a label on them. I like to use these little flags from Post-it Note. They are perfect for it. I just write the clue number on there and then pin it onto my clue so that way I know which one is which. This is very reminiscent of another clue that we did earlier. I don't know which one off the top of my head. I would have to go back and dig through the clues, but it feels like we have done this clue before, but this time it feels like it's reversed. I think last time it was like a mirror image of this. But anyways, there we go. We are done with our clue number 8. Thanks for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm making it my goal in 2021 to hit 100,000 subscribers, but I need your help to make that happen. Take a moment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then don't forget to check out the other great videos that I have here on my channel. Also, share this video with your friends and tell them to come check out the Off Kilter Crafter.